Well, I must apologize to everybody. Apparently, I used a previous YouTube live setting and automatically went live as soon as I hit the live streaming option. So we are currently
Well, I
live
must
on
apologize
YouTube,
to everybody. Apparently, I used
and somebody has
previous
their
YouTube
device doing
live
things. That's
setting
probably
and
me. Hold on.
automatically went live.
There we go. That's me. We'll do it live. Just getting everything figured out here. Do. Yep, auto start was enabled. Okay, I guess we're starting a little early. So no pre-live chat this time around. So anything you say is broadcast currently live on YouTube. And I can't stop the stream and start a new one because that's a whole new link. And I'm not going to go around pasting new links everywhere. So welcome to Worldwide Slot Car Chat on Zoom number 287. I'm your host, Greg Galb. Barely anybody's here yet because we're 15 minutes early, but Mike and Tony are here. So yeah, let's just do some casual chat until people start pouring in and wanting to talk slot cars. Preferably still about slot cars. Uh, I don't think I had any show and tell. Oh, actually, no, I did have a show and tell. So I'll do a show and tell. And I'll probably have to ask this question again later because part of this is to ask, what controller is this? I know it's a DeFalco 300 series controller, but I got it because a customer wanted something for his DeFalco 300 whatever controller, and his is very, very similar, however, slightly different in some ways. Like he doesn't have this switch here to bypass to do a brake relay instead of the brake knob, and he's got other componentry. I think I took another photo. Never mind that one. Uh, yeah, of the backside. I did determine that the whatchamacallit, the series of resistors is um, their standard resistor pack that they include. He didn't get a special resistor pack for whatever he was driving around with. So it's the 290, which is does not equate. I did some research to try to figure this out, but the 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 resistive value of the array of resistors does not equate to typical ohms that you're used to with a fixed resistor controller. Like this is 290 ohms, which sounds absolutely ridiculous and useless to pretty much everybody. But that's because it's not effectively 290 ohms like a 60 ohm or a 35 ohm controller would be. So ignore that. I did get it on Monday, so I was able to take it to Monday Night Racing and get a little experience with it. There's the 290. Uh, and it's okay. It fortunately for me, it came with a two-finger trigger, so that made it much more comfortable for me to race with. Um, the brake bypass is an interesting feature. Basically, I would guess, I haven't researched it, but I guess that flipping that switch uh, turns a relay on in the box that goes on the track, like a full speed relay. This is a brake relay, right? So not going through any additional resistance that a knob could produce, even if it's at zero resistance. Uh, it did seem to have a very small effect as opposed to full breaks through the knob. Um, but I had to learn that that's what that switch was because when I first got there, that switch was on bypass and the brake knob didn't do anything. And I'm like, what the heck is wrong with this controller? Then I flipped the switch and the brake knob worked. Uh, the sensitivity is pretty much what you'd expect. You turn it one way, the car is twitchier. You turn it the other way, the car doesn't want to go till you pull the trigger halfway. That's good. The traction control uh, is so subtle that I could barely tell that it had any kind of effect whatsoever. I finally determined that there was a small effect between 0 and 10. So we were racing the Revo slot cars, so that might have had a fairly big impact on how much effect I felt. with the various settings on that. So I don't know, maybe a magnet car would have a much more profound difference between 0 and 10,
And a
but
bigger motor car does too.
bigger motor for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the controller and the resistor array that he provides for 132nd and hard body 124, basically the kind of cars that we race. They offer different arrays for HO, magnet HO or speed craze morons cars, obviously. But yeah, we don't ever race magnets or super crazy motors, so probably I would notice more of an effect on maybe an NSR, with the high torque motors or something
Yeah,
else.
I notice it a lot.
Do you have a
Um,
DeFalco?
yeah, I have a DeFalco. I notice it a lot on the um, you need a little bit better control with the foam tired glued tracks than you do with kind of tracks that we're running in 132nd.
Is that
Um,
because of such high traction it wheelies out really
well, it's
easy?
because the motors are torqueer, I
Yeah,
think. So the difference is not quite as subtle. So
that's kind of what I figured.
yeah,
Good to know. It happens to be purple, which is not my favorite color. Nothing against purple. I like purple as much as the next guy. But one of the guy's wives who sometimes races with us, her super favorite color in the world ever is purple. And she even goes by the racing name of Purple rather than her given name. So this might end up in their possession at some point in the future unless I fall in love with it. But what I did on Monday night was we're racing at Bill's track, which is the Polycar track, and he has his timing and control system set up for fuel management like we do at Russ's track. So when we race at Bill's, it's basically the same as Russ's with 3.5 minute heats, full marshaling so the cars get put straight back on when they crash. Fuel management, so after several laps, you got to pull in and stay under the bridge for refueling, so on and so forth. um, and when we do that, we basically just we do 3 rotations of all the racers anyways for most nights. So that was no different this night. So what I ended up doing was I raced with the DeFalco for the first rotation. So my first 4 heats were with the DeFalco. And then I switched back to my slotted for the second 4 heats. And then for the final 4 heats, I went back to the DeFalco. And I I I feel like the brakes, even with using the brake bypass relay on the DeFalco, I feel like the brakes that I was getting on my SCP with the high amp cartridge were better. Um, and I definitely liked the less subtle traction control on the SCP controller as compared to the DeFalco controller. But otherwise, they both, I was able to use them both effectively, and I did okay, except a couple of times I got completely distracted by whatever or nonsense in my head. My mind just started drifting to other things while I'm racing and completely blew past the refueling situation one time after the first tank. So I lost, like almost 20 laps out of your the best laps even by the best racers on this track was like 26 for those 3.5 minute heats. So I lost a bunch of laps then, and then later on I did the same thing on my second refueling. So I lost another third of the laps I could have earned from that one, and ended up fairly far down the list of finishing order. So that beside the point, I don't feel like either controller uh, hindered me or gave me better performance. Like each one had their own strengths and weaknesses. That said, I'm obviously way more familiar with the SCP controller and obviously more comfortable with how the tweaks are affect the performance of the car and this, that, and the other thing. Um, but I'm a smart enough guy that I figured out how the controller works pretty quick and the feel is good. It's got enough um, contacts on the wiper board that there was no stepping that you might feel with a cheaper controller with less contacts or whatever. So very smooth, comfortable to use, good controller. I can't knock it, but it's not like if somebody were asking me which would you buy, the DeFalco or the SCP, flip a coin. I'd probably still go with the SCP if only because it has the wiperless trigger. So no need to ever worry about having to clean the wiper board or make sure that you're not putting too much sideways pressure on the trigger that you lose contact with the wiper board, which I was able various other wiper board related things that you don't have to worry about with the SCP controller. And the SCP definitely does have more versatility in the throttle curve, right? I don't know of anything here on the DeFalco that changed the curve on this controller. Just, your regular sensitivity and, traction control changes. But again, one of the main reasons I wanted to show and tell this, and now that we have more people on, maybe I'll get an answer. Does anybody know the exact precise model of this controller? DeFalco 300 what? That's all I know. It's a 300 something. And I can zoom in if anybody needs more information. I don't think it's on the board anywhere. Just check the other picture just in case. No, not seeing anything. I'm gonna stop the share real quick because I want to go because I asked the guy who sold it to me if he remembered what the specific model was. So check to see if he sent me a message. By the way, all you guys who came in late, if you didn't already figure it out, we've been live since quarter till the hour because I forgot to turn off auto start when streaming. So I've pretty much been talking about the DeFalco controller this whole time. But let's check my messages. Come on. Messages. No. No response to that question. So anybody out there know what controller that was? DeFalco something. DeFalco 3 something. I went to the DeFalco website and I looked for pictures. There is a dearth of pictures on the DeFalco website. Like he's got pages and pages of stats and model numbers and information about variations on models, but no pictures. I mean, not no pictures, but like no pictures of each model. Like here's a model, blah, blah, blah. Here's the picture of that. None of that, right? Just, here's a DeFalco controller. And then pages of, you got your 132nd page of variations. You got your 124th page of variations. You got your HO page of variations, but no way to identify a controller based on photographs. So I guess I'm up the creek on that one for a while. Not that it matters too much, but there are minor differences between my controller and the customer's controller.
Looks like I have to log back in. I can't seem to get my video up. I'm gonna go ahead and reboot my machine.
Okay, see you when you get back. All right, well, I guess that's enough from me for now. Does anybody else have anything they want to show and tell? Mike, you got something?
Oh, we're live. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I can't unmute you, Mike. I can only click the ask to unmute button. Oh, and now he turned his camera off. No, wait, there you are. Don put his hand up. You wanna let Don go first while you figure out your situation there, Mike? Okay, go ahead, Don. What you got? You're not muted, but I can't hear anything. So if you're talking, the microphone is not doing something right.
How about now?
There we go.
Yeah, need to turn the mic on.
That
Anyway,
is helpful.
the new F1s from Carrera.
Nice. Red Bull 132nd scale, right?
Yep. Should have taken the lid off, but
That's okay. Cool beans.
anyway,
I'm glad they're coming out with more F1s because I remember not too many years ago it was like any kind of F1 from Carrera was hen's teeth.
and then I took if I can find it. The newest attraction to slot car racing, my grandson.
Nice.
And then I bit the bullet and got me one of those.
Wow, that's a pretty penny right there, but you get the best of the best.
Now, I went with the meterless one because I didn't see paying an extra $200 for a couple little needle meters on there that, nobody's going to be sitting there staring at the box. So, but
Nice.
anyway, I'm very pleased with its performance and was very easy to install and the whole 9 yards. So that's,
And it looks good too. It looks like a piece of high-end audio equipment or something.
yeah. And I had a couple of Parma controllers that I fixed up with the XLR plugs and away I went. So
Perfect.
now if I can figure out how to stop share.
I got you. All right, good stuff. That'll make everything just so much more versatile for you.
Well, I've really been enjoying running all of my analog cars on my Carrera track for a change. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so much easier just flipping a switch instead of having to change out a control unit.
Yep. Yep. And use good controllers. Or were your Palmers wired up for the Carrera analog?
They are now.
No, I mean, had they been already functioning as your analog for that for your little oval?
Well, I have one that I fixed up, but I'm not using that one because it has a Carrera plug on it.
Yeah.
I had a whole bunch of Parmas left over from my HO days. And, they're 35 and 45 ohm resistor, which work fine.
Yeah.
And all I needed to do was put a plug on them. And that didn't take very long and got it done.
All righty. Cool beans. Mikey, you ready?
Yeah, I fixed my problem.
Yeah.
Two things I've got. Number one is I've been playing around with this, which is ridiculous. It's at any rate, I eliminated the floppy front wheels by gluing a piece of brass with a hole on top of it. And as you can see, if I put it the right angle, you should be able to see the original position of the guide behind the one I put in. And the wheels go through in that manner. Actually, now you can see the guide hole a little better. So I moved the guide forward, thanks to Swift Slot for the idea. His solution was to make a 3D printed piece that goes over the axle and move it in front of it. And it eliminated all the space in the back that I could use to put the infrared indicator on, or the infrared control on. And so I decided there had to be a better way, and this was it. So I haven't gotten it out on the track yet, but good enough. And then I have something to show for John Kidd. I don't know if he's here tonight. if I can get this to work again. There we go. Well, not that. You notice something different there? Maybe. A little bit of scenery added to the track. So the Budweiser beer vending was appropriate for Wisconsin. So I figured, in the Northwest, maybe they probably have Budweiser instead of something else. So, but that's what it comes with anyway. So, but at any rate, that's a new addition on there. So
That's on the back wall, but there isn't any track behind
yeah,
it.
next to the you can see the white Budweiser sign on top of it, next to the grandstand there.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's no track behind that, so it's basically the
No.
furthest thing.
No. And to the right there, I put new grass underneath there. I had pieced things together, and I spent the budget of $30 on another 6 by 8 foot row of grass, and put a full sheet in there instead of the pieced together pieces. So
Yeah.
it was more a matter of going to Lowe's and doing it rather than spending the money. It wasn't that big a deal. But at any rate, that's a new addition. So
Cool. Get some people
Okay.
around. Put some of those people around it so that they can be doing some business.
I don't have any stand-up people
Oh,
to
they're all
speak of,
sitting.
so I have to get more people.
Those,
Obviously, for me, I'm not concerned as much about the scenery as I am about the racing. So
Yep. Same here.
those spectators look properly excited.
Yeah, they're all waving and everything.
those are just
Getting
Career.
wicked.
they're just Carrera figures, a couple of acts. Of course, Carrera doesn't paint them differently. They're all painted the same. So I probably should spend some time doing it, but I'm too busy doing stupid things like playing with minis from Scale X-Ric instead.
All right.
Thinking about it now, I'm thinking it's probably more than I should be doing.
I got a comment on Dewan. He's made some changes in his life. Apparently, he is now a pink-haired white person, possibly female.
I'm trying. Somehow I activated an avatar and I can't figure it out.
I'm pretty
Thank
sure it's
you.
in your video settings.
All right.
That's an
That's
admission for a
what we
rocket
need.
scientist.
So that
Oh,
is that an
God.
avatar? Is that an avatar from the
Yeah,
Zoom
apparently
app?
it is. I didn't know how it got on there. I'm telling you.
We should all change to random avatars throughout the chat tonight just to see what people do. But while people are messing with avatars, does anybody else have any show and tell they want to show and tell? Wow, switching to Club Corner
Oh,
already.
actually, I have something sort of.
Oh.
I forgot about. Let me put it back together quick so you can see something.
Quick. Fast.
I received a free car.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Did you get the new one?
Escort from LEB.
So yeah, this is the one from LEB. This is the car that replaced it. So you can see that I was disappointed though, because I thought that I thought, being the front splitter is painted that way, I thought the rear splitter would be too, but it's not. It's just a piece of black plastic. On the other hand, it makes it easier to replace the old one and put a spoiler on it. So anyway, new one. The
Plus all that
disappointment.
all that downforce you're getting from that wing.
Oh
man.
yeah, definitely. The disappointing factor is that I decided that I would put a 18K minnow motor that I had around to put it in there, and I put it in and it worked for 3 seconds and that was it. So I have to figure out what's going on. The chip isn't
Smoke
blown,
check.
thank God.
Did you see smoke?
No, I didn't see smoke. I just had no go, and it just wouldn't go. So, and yet I haven't taken it off yet. I had trouble with my soldering iron, and in the tip, I got replacement tips for it, and the old tip is stuck in the barrel, and I can't get it out to save my soul. And in the process of attempting to get it out and various things, I damaged it. So I got new pieces on there, so I can't take it out and put another one in or test it yet. So
Yeah.
we still see. But anyway, that's how that went. I did get the new car.
Cool, cool. All right, I guess we're already switching over to Club Corner. Anybody got any racing they want to talk about?
Sure.
Take it away.
I had a bunch of racing this week. We had first off, I don't know, Greg, have you ever had the PC lap counter do a short out and light the base up with the lights and everything?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, I had two of them this Monday. There was a fair amount of crashing going on in the second one, and I can understand that. But what happens is that it will go into I won't have any indication that it's connected to the power base. And it's got a yellow light on the place where you go to start the interface and check the COM position, that page.
Yeah.
And it turns yellow, and if I stop and stop the interface to restart the whole thing, it won't restart no matter what I do. And I tried with that in that position. I tried a bunch of times back and forth, and finally, this is after the race was done, I finally switched it over to RCS 64 and tried to see if the power base was connected. So if I had a bad power base or whatever. And then I went back to PC lap counter and it worked. So it's like, okay, what happens when that light turns yellow and how do you fix it? So that's my next question. Obviously, it's not going to help emailing him because he's notoriously unresponsive. Please, Greg.
What? Do you notice a difference? I don't know. What looks like me.
Not.
It was pretty easy to do. All right. Does anybody else have any?
Well, anyway, I'm not done yet.
Okay, sorry.
So anyway, we raced Formula Ones this week, and the first race we raced the Classic, and we had the problem, and I couldn't get rid of it, so I shut the whole thing down, and we did a second race. And in the first race, I was 2.5 laps ahead. We got up to 60. 60 laps, I think it was, and then it shut down. So we figured, well, we'll do a 75 lap race for the rest of it. And Shiggy won the second race by 1 lap and declared himself the winner.
Nice.
Of course, notwithstanding that the first part of the race, I was 3 laps ahead. So, but the second race was kind of a debacle. We used the 86, 89 NSR Formula Ones. And I think Shiggy's car had a problem I discovered later because the chip was burned out, where the ferrite man was just close enough that when it rocked a little bit, it would touch and short out. So he started having trouble with all kinds of stuff going on. And eventually it burned the chip out and we abandoned the race. But it was kind of a debacle in that way. And that's what started all the problems with the race management system and that stuff. So, and then yesterday I went and raced analog. Shiggy took pity on me and took my car and fixed it all up. And of course, it was great handling, but the motor was crap. So we replaced the motor on it. And those are soldering motors in those flappy pan cars. So we did that. And so I was breaking in the motor the whole race. So I had a few more offs as a result of it because the motor would suddenly get faster and my braking points would change. But even so, I finished fifth out of six, only 3 laps off the fourth place. And of course, the top three guys are always going to be there. Same way as with yours, you have one guy that wins all the time. But those three guys, it's going to be one of those three guys that's going to win, no matter what. So, despite the fact that Chiggy prepared my car, it was still slower than his. But at any rate, I had a good time. More than I usually do. I'd say since there were only 6 of us, it was a little bit better. There's much more alone time. You get 8 guys on at once, and Joel did his famous thing and crashed me out like 4 or 5 times at least, and it was like, God, Joel, please. But I did have a couple of good laps and good races where Hillbilly is one of the top 3, and he couldn't get by me, and it really pissed him off because I was right there with him all the time, and he was upset that he couldn't make it. He could, if he would stick his nose in, I would wag the tail a little bit. So he was afraid to try and come around me in certain places. And in the places where he was on the inside, I was fast enough on the corner that I could stay ahead of him a little bit. So it was a ding dong race for about 15 or 20 laps. So it was good fun. But finally he gave me a little swipe and I was out. So that ended that. And I was fast enough that I didn't see him again the rest of the heat. So, but it was good fun. It was kind of nice to be back doing that a little bit. I'm not particularly interested in doing the full Slotto thing because that's on a Saturday. They will have, in the middle of the month, they will have 3 classes. They'll have stock cars, retro Can-Ams, and LMPs, and it's a 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. deal, and that's like, especially if they have a lot of guys. A lot of times we'll have people come from southern part of Washington up to spend a whole day doing that, and a lot of good guys. There's another group down in the Tri-Cities that's got, I think it's 3 tracks in their outbuilding, and so they've gotten 18 to 20 guys on occasion, and oh man, it gets to be too much. And at the bottom end, where I'm not fast enough to be in the A main all the time, and the B main is a crash fest always, and it's not much fun when you're crashing every second or third lap because somebody gets in the way or knocks you off, and a lot of times some of the guys, the marshaling is not. There isn't much interest in marshaling well. I try to do the best I can, the best job I can at my old decrepit age, but some of it's like pick the car up, look at it, put it down, maybe somewhere near the right lane, and sometimes that's if they pick it up at all. It's like, ugh. So, and I do my best not to yell at the marshals because you shouldn't have gone off in the first place, but it does get annoying. Anyway, that's my rant for the day. It was only stupid people playing with small toy cars.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me of marshaling stories. One of the guys has a tendency to, most of the guys will chat with other guys while they're, supposedly marshaling a corner. But one guy has a tendency to always look at who he's chatting with. He can't just listen to them and chat with them while watching his corner. He always looks at them while he's talking to them. So notorious for just crashes happening in front of him, completely oblivious to them, and people yelling at him to. That's the only thing that I consider good marshaling, right? That you can objectively say that person is a bad marshal versus that person is a good marshal, is whether they're actually watching the turn that they're responsible for, right? The best of us mess up,
Sure.
grabbing a car quickly enough for another car not to hit it, or getting into the correct lane quickly enough, or whatever. But if you're not watching your turn, you don't even have the opportunity to be good or bad at those things. So friggin' watch your turn. But the story was on Monday, Chris, the fastest guy, he's like standing, and watching, he's being a good marshal, right? But then a double crash happened. So he had two cars, and I yell, put Russ on first because he's the one that got crashed out by the first person who crashed. And I think that's what threw him. And he's basically like just short circuited, right? And the guys are all yelling at him and everything. He's like, what did it, and he finally ended up, laps later for the other guys practically gets the cars back in their lanes, the correct lanes, and the race continued. And so everybody was giving him shit for that, and he's like, "Oh man, I feel terrible about that." I'm like, "Don't worry about it. We're just giving you shit. No big deal." A few heats later, I'm standing where he had been standing, and I'm watching the track as I should, and cars come off in the infield, which is always a pain in the ass. So I'm debating whether or not I should be even using the grabber or trying to, get my gut over the edge of the table far enough to grab those cars by hand and end up just ruining that whole marshaling situation. Another car comes through, gets smashed into because the other cars haven't been picked up yet. We're trying to figure out who goes in what lane and everything. And after that was all over, I look up at Chris and I'm like, "You feel better now?" He's like, "Yeah, thanks, man. I feel way better now." And that'll probably all of that stuff will probably be on Russ's YouTube of the EMSA racing videos because he does basically a beginning to end continuous video of all the racing. So I'm sure that'll be in there for people to go watch both me and Chris make fools of ourselves of in our marshaling prowesses. But yeah, that was if you didn't hear me talking about it early because we started the stream early, raced at Bill's Polycar track with fuel and everything like we do at Russ's track, Revo slot cars. My mind wandered a couple of times while I was refueling or while I was racing and forgot to refuel. So basically, that's the only way you get kicked out of the race is if you just drive through without stopping for refueling. So I lost a bunch of laps a couple of times by not refueling. That put me way down the finishing order. And that's pretty much all there is to say about that race. I didn't do very well, but I wasn't last, so still, you know. And there was all the fun with the guys. I walk into Bill's garage and I hear racing noises, except they're realistic racing noises. I look over and he's got his full sim racing rig over by the garage door that had not been there previously. Big, wide, curved monitor, force feedback wheel, feedback pedal and brakes, the whole shebang. And of course, the guys that were already there are just sitting there having a hoot and a holler, driving pretend real cars instead of practicing on the slot car track. And of course, everybody had to have their turn. Some of the guys gravitated back towards that when they really should have been marshaling for while the racing was going on. A couple of times the sim racing rig got left on with no driver in the seat, and the car was like off in the grass, rumbling like crazy, right? Because it's got a rumble seat for the realism, and the car's engine is idling, but the computer is like, oh well, he's in the grass, so it's got to be bumpy, right? So the rumble seat is rumbling loudly while the speaker is loudly making the car idling noise, and nobody's even sitting in the machine. And I'm like,
Can you shut that off?
Bill went over and shut it off, and fortunately after that people were kind enough to at least leave the car on the road, on the actual racetrack when they got up out of the seat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good thing sim
was
racing
debating
isn't
on having-
addictive.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this guy, I believe he he works for Microsoft, and he probably had been with Microsoft since the early days, because Homeboy's got a top fuel dragster, McLaren. I think he's got a Lamborghini, big trucks up the wazoo.
You're talking about
Your
real
daily
things.
drivers, big old RV, big old garage for them to all be in, just a super tall shed with all these luxury vehicles and whatnot.
I thought you were talking about models. You're talking about real things.
Where these are the real things. Yeah, the actual ones. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunate
I was
man.
debating. I was debating having those types of distractions near my track because I have a whole slew of arcade games, and I was debating whether or not that should be kind of like in my
I would vote no on that. At
Yeah,
least
actually, the
put
one,
some kind of
oh, I
put a
was just
little
gonna say, yeah,
wall, right, and a door so that it's known to be a separate area from the racetrack.
yeah,
Oh, you
I was
say,
gonna
John?
say, exactly the same thing. We have our track room here with the slot car track, and then the racing sims are in our family room. So, you've got some traffic going between, but the two don't really meet. Yeah, it's best to separate them. It's like, church and state.
Really?
I mean, at the very least, you don't look around wondering, where people are. If they're not in the room, they're not in the room. That's all that matters.
Well, the other thing too, we noticed that people on sims seem to swear a lot more than slot cars.
Especially
Yeah,
because
right.
most of them aren't very good at it.
Yeah, my favorite is when they try to pull the steering wheel out of the rig as the car careens off the track.
Fortunately, Bill had almost all of the simulations turned off. So there was no force feedback on. Actually, he should have turned force feedback on the wheel on, because it was super easy to oversteer. But that was the main problem people were trying to grapple with, was the fact that if you turn it a little bit, the car turns a lot. It's really easy to turn, right? You should have left that part on. But he had it on automatic gear shifting, right? So all you had to do was jam the throttle and then hit the brakes up to the turn. Uh, he didn't have it, uh, you know, helping you steer, which is probably a feature in there, but maybe not. But all the damage was turned off, so people slammed into walls and stuff didn't matter, because he just wanted people to just have fun with it, right? Not actually.
Do you know what
pretend.
program he was using, Greg?
Uh, I think he told me, but I forget what it was. It's one of the more popular sim racers, probably the one you use.
Well, yeah, because I mean, my favorite is Grand Prix Legends, which is
Oh yeah.
1967. That's the best. Next is GT Legends, where you get a whole bunch of classic saloons and sports cars. That one's really good. And then the same guys who do R Factor, they were Papyrus originally, and those are the guys who actually developed what do you call Grand Prix Legends. And believe it or not, it's the same basic physics model for R Factor that they use that they developed for Grand Prix Legends.
Yeah, I don't think it was either one of those, but he's definitely more of a high power modern race car guy than a classic race car guy.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Still fun.
not really big I don't think he's into open wheelers anyways either. So yeah, pretty much just the GT racing for this guy. So whatever is the more popular program for that. I'd had heard of it before he told me what it was, but old man brain.
John, did you see my futile attempt at scenery earlier?
Not feudal at all. Your Budweiser hut's cool, man. That's awesome.
I didn't notice whether you were here then.
Yeah. No, I was here. I was in the background, just watching. Oh, that's awesome. Way to go. Are you planning more, Mike?
Well, eventually, if I ever get done fixing all these damn Scalextric's car.
Stop buying them and you won't have to keep fixing them.
Oh, I know. It's
Well, here, let me show you my building kit. Hang on a second. It's really
better be an RSK.
No. I meant for scenery.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Shoebox, some scissors.
no, actually, it's stir sticks.
Oh yeah, log cabins.
Yeah, well, here, I'll show you what I'm working on. It'll be an episode soon, but here, I'll show you. it just takes a little bit of imagination. I'll just step over here. Sorry, don't mind me, folks. Hang on.
Yeah, I've been clearing my slate and getting ready to focus on doing my scenery and other activities, projects that I hadn't gotten to.
Yeah. So what you can do with a box of those things is something like this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I
And
bet you sanded those.
no. It's right out of the box. Nope. Just white glue and believe it or not, this is a decal from a Monogram B17 model. I thought it'd be kind of a neat name. Chowhound for the donut stand.
Yeah.
Yeah, took a military figure and basically made him into a soda jerk.
Oh, yeah.
So there's lots of stuff you can do. All you need is a box of stir sticks, or even if you don't want to buy them, go to your local Starbucks and just buy a coffee and a lot of sticks.
Just grab a handful.
I still got some left from the PCA meet that I had. So I'll have to avail myself. I
Again,
saved them.
just to show you that, you know, it has what I like to call Scottish seasoning. This is just a piece of cardboard on top. Costs nothing.
Yeah.
So it's
Mine are skinnier.
oh, but I think it's fabulous, and it really, you know what, especially when you're racing, it really adds to the just the whole overall, you know, enjoyment of it.
Yep. Especially since we're
I don't-
running scale cars.
I don't know. I don't want to make anything too elaborate. Joel, take it out.
That's
Yeah,
part of the
don't-
fun.
Don't mount it down. Let the impact move it so it doesn't take damage
Yeah.
or that much damage. All right, Gio's got his hand up. What'd you like to share today, Gio?
A bit of follow-up from last week on PC Lab Calendar. I think we are already 1.5 hours into the show. Is that correct?
We're half,
Yeah.
well, we're 45 minutes because I accidentally started live early.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 8 o'clock. Okay. Okay, so let me share the screen. Okay, so with PC Lab Calendar, you can select the what you can show during the race. So at the end, I come up with this kind of information. And one of the nice things is that you can save your template. So you can either save as like standalone settings that you can, or template that you can bring up when you want. But also you can save in sorry, console. You can save as a race, type of a race, and then you can either open or whatever notification you save it. So when you open next time, then this stuff will come up. Now, one of the not the issue. I mean, like PC Lab Calendar can when linked with the oxygen, can detect when a car comes off and then issue a track call. So the problem is that there is no way, at least I'm not able to find a way for cancel the track call from the keyboard. So the only option that you have at the moment is pressing the brake button on the controller.
I think there's an F key, like F3 or F4. That's the same key that triggers track call from the keyboard, which I believe is F3 or F4. I forget which off the top of my head, but it's. I remember using that and complaining about the fact that it's an F key rather than the space bar.
Okay. And so yeah, okay. So I have to kind of try that one, and because at the moment with the track call being either you can issue or delete or cancel it with the brake button, because we use lights every time I want to basically put the car back and then the lights go off and then I have to press again. And then either your car stops and then someone's going to bump you in the ass and they come off and then again truck call or you truck call and they go. So
Yeah.
it's pain in the butt. Okay. And so there is, because I think Mike says something that you can use maybe from the control, you can use the lane changer button, but I believe for issue truck call or delete. But I believe this is for SSD only. Is
Mine,
that correct?
on mine, it's both of them. I have to press both of them to stop the track call.
Sorry, Mike, what do you mean?
I have to
They're
press
both
both
arrow.
buttons, both the brake and the lane change in order to get rid of the track call.
Are you sure it's
Or
not
in
just
Oxygen or SSD?
Pardon me?
Oxygen or SSD?
Oxygen.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
wondering
I'm
if
not,
if it's possible that it is just the brake button like Geo's finding, and you just happen to always push the lane change button first.
Well, I know that in SSD it's both of them, and I think I have it set up the same way for Oxygen.
Okay.
I cannot find that option on for Oxygen to kind of set up with the both buttons. I know. I mean, I didn't check for SSD, but I was reading the manual that basically you have to press both because actually in SSD are just 2 buttons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are different methods of doing that, but in playing around with it, the only one that worked right for me was the one with pressing both buttons in SSD. So, but I haven't run Oxygen for a couple of weeks now, so I could be wrong on that.
Okay. So at the moment they are using the PC Lab Calendar just with SSD.
Yeah.
Okay.
remember-
Yeah.
I remember we looked for this last week and I couldn't find it. I'm like, it's got to be in there somewhere for crying out loud. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's
What
kind of such an advanced software, and then there are these kind of small things missing that
Yeah.
actually are pretty important as well. Anyway, so I kind of send an email to the guy. So using the contact email in the website. So I don't know if you guys know if it's responsive or not, or if that email works.
If you don't get an email back, then post on the forum
Right.
somewhere.
In its forum. I mean the forum on
The PC Lab Counter forum, yeah. His own forum. If you
okay.
go to if you go to the website pclabcounter.de, and
There is a
then
forum.
on the menu, where is it? Features, download news, buy hardware, links, resellers. Yeah, forum. It even has an underline under the word forum. And then yeah, pclabcounter.forummotion.com. But yeah, you can get to it through the PC Lab Counter website.
Okay, okay. So I will look at that.
Yeah.
Then there are other small things like for I know that you can configure, for instance, how many lights you can have for the starting of the session.
Mhm.
So for instance, I'm okay with the race to be like 5 lights, and then there is a bit of random for them to go completely off at random time. But I was trying to do the same for, I was trying to change for the practice to just be 1 light. So just bump and then go. And I think it's the number of lights is the settings for the whole thing, and you cannot configure for each of the sessions or the type of session. So
Yeah.
it's something that it's again kind of sucks. I mean, given that it's so configurable, and then these kind of small things are kind of a bit of a pain for not able to find. Another, I've been play also with the sounds because Yeah, I would like to have like fastest lap and some of the sounds to basically give some kind of information like a lap counting and so on and so forth. I don't know if you guys like how you set up your analog kind of race management system, but the one that we have, it's TrackMate that we have in my analog club here. So basically, there is I mean, like a sound for each time the car goes under the lights, basically, like I mean, start finishing line. Then you have a sound for the fastest lap of the session that is going on. But then there is another sound for when you do your best personal lap, best lap. Okay, so it's not a link to the lane, it's just a link to your times. Okay, which actually is a link to the lane. Okay, so into a second. So I was trying to find
Which RMS are you using for the analog?
TrackMate.
Checkmate. Okay.
Yeah, so this is what basically there was in the analog club. I mean, and when I bought my digital track, the SSD from Damien, one of the guys on the SWAT forum, he already had set up like a Jewel, so there was also analog option for it. And it's again TrackMate. So the hardware is TrackMate, and then I have a link to TrackMate software. So, and I was trying to do the same here, but I cannot find like a best personal lap. So there is a race best lap that again you can configure for each of the drivers, although I use one sound for everybody. But then there is nothing related to personal
Can you
best.
zoom in? Can you zoom in a
Okay.
little?
Hard to see because your resolution is so high.
Control plus maybe?
I don't think that works in PC Lab Counter.
No, it doesn't work, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, he'd have to change his screen resolution to make that bigger.
No, don't worry about it. I can't read it.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
neither.
yeah, I know. Anyway, so
Does
yeah,
it
so
do
basically,
any sound? When you set a
Again,
best lap, does it do a sound?
yeah, the best lap basically does the sound, but this is the best lap of the race.
So can you find the best sound on your C drive, like C:/ and look for the name of it? Somewhere on your C drive is a WAV file that's playing that sound.
Correct. But
So
I'm looking at the event that is triggering that. So, okay, so I think we are confusing the matter. So I'm able to basically making the sound for the best lap of the race.
Right.
Okay, so and what you see here is basically that. I was thinking that maybe there was an option for best personal lap.
Right.
And the only things that I can find that is something, it's not really that, but I can give a bit of feedback how you are either improving or not, is a lap faster. So which means that if you improve from your previous lap, then you can get a special sound if you want. But there is nothing like kind of
Personal
special.
best sound.
It's
Yeah.
personal best.
So on top of here, you have like a record lap, but I think this is the record lap for the track. So the software keeps a history of the best laps or record laps for your track. So if you keep improving that, then basically we can give you special sound. Then there is another record lap. Sorry.
Can I share my screen? It's a little bit better, lower resolution, so it should appear larger. Okay. Oh, not yep. Do a separate window. Okay. So that's the screen you were looking at, right? The driver specific.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is you've got Curtis right there. It's not like a default setting. I wonder I mean, you could
Well,
track this down and see where it's pulling it from. If it's pulling from all users' best lap or Curtis's
this
best lap
this is all users over here.
on the right.
Yeah. So anything you set
Right.
in Curtis will override these things. And it looks like there are things in driver that's not in overall. Like
Correct.
uh,
Yes.
yeah, so last lap, a lap faster, better, a lap slower, the best lap of the race for Curtis, the lane record for Curtis, the driver lane record for Curtis, or I guess lane record would be for anybody. Driver lane record. Uh, you'd think that what you're asking for is one of those things.
What happens if you sort by ID? Is that anything different?
That's the
No, this is
names. That's
just
the
a
driver.
sorting
Oh,
the
okay.
names,
Okay.
the names
Yeah.
of the driver, which it basically does not stick. So every time you open is again sorted by driver name.
Yeah.
Ah.
But yeah, so any of these, let's see.
Yeah. I mean, the sound. I mean, the sounds they work, right? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
able to kind of link to the event. Actually, what I did, I took some of the sounds from because some of the sounds here really sucks. So I took some of the sounds from RCS02
Yeah.
that are MP3. I converted to Wave, and then I brought them in, and it kind of like it works. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, there
Here-
are some kind of small things that actually you will believe that this is something that you should have in the general options, right? Best lap of the race instead of going. And then you could do personalize, for instance, for each of the drivers if you want to.
So what's weird about that is it has record lap and driver
Yeah.
record lap under
Yeah.
Curtis. They're the same thing. Curtis's record lap sound or Curtis's driver record lap. Well, Curtis is the driver. Why are there two entries there? That's what I was looking at. I was like, my thought here is if you take one wave sound, like a horn that you know, and put that horn sound in for every single thing here, save it and run a few laps as Curtis, see if it ever triggers when you know you set a faster lap or a better lap. If it doesn't, it's probably he might just have it named funny because he didn't spend a lot of time on that part.
Well, he's also French, and this is an English translation. So, record could mean both record and record.
Yeah, right.
So, so that top one could mean record lap, as in you just got a lap.
Now
No,
over on the right. Wait, listen,
Yes.
over on the right it says speech enable. I assume that is so it can talk, it can use the Windows built-in talk to text feature. So if you enable that feature and then over on record lap you put Curtis set a record. Does
No, but
it do what you want?
It's not the problem about there are two things here. One is triggering the triggering event, right? And the
Yeah.
other one is the sound that's gonna play. So the trigger event that I want is when a driver basically managed to get their personal best lap, they should be notified. Whatever the sound is, I don't care. So, which basically, you know what I'm saying, Jeremy?
Personal best historically,
No,
Yeah.
for the race.
just for the race,
Sorry,
just for the race,
Yeah,
but not necessarily
because
the fastest lap overall of the race.
no,
His fastest lap.
correct. Yes,
Gotcha.
I mean, I mean, possibly you could do the best lap of the race at the end, and so those two events will be the same event. Let's say because it will be your personal best.
I'm thinking the most likely one is going to be the driver lane record because he says many times that for digital, lane means ID, right? So if you're doing oxygen, then presumably the ID of the driver doesn't change throughout the race, right? So he's
Yeah.
always in lane 5 or whatever his ID is, right? So the driver lane record should be his best lap of the current race.
My only problem with the record is if it's not resetted every time I start a session,
Yeah.
then yeah, you see what I'm saying. And actually about translation. So the actual crossing of the start finishing line in the general settings is called the lap beep.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
anyway, I mean, yeah, I think I was aware that there were a lot of options, but sometimes
here's
when I
here's
come,
here's an
greatest
idea
option.
for you.
I saw it.
Here's an idea similar to what Jeremy was saying, but without using the speech, right? Just use a wave recorder on your device to say record lap, driver record lap, last lap, lap faster, lap slower, right? And yourself saying those things that coincide with the name of the thing, and then put those sounds in there. That way, when you get the thing, you know what trigger it's playing because the sound it plays is the name of the trigger.
Yeah. I mean, I can experiment. I mean, if I had time, yeah, I would do
Yeah.
a bit
In
of
other words,
episode. I would try to.
nobody here knows what the answer is, so you're gonna have to experiment.
Yeah. Okay. So that, I mean, yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah.
have to troubleshoot it.
Yeah,
There's no
putting
way
on
around
record.
this.
Say again, Jeremy?
You're gonna have to troubleshoot it. There's no way around it. Like in Race Coordinator, I know it has all those features, and you just put in the, you say Jeremy record
Yeah.
lap, and then wherever Jeremy races in anything, when he hits his record, it lets you know.
Yeah, and this feature is there, right? I mean, it's basically if there were an option for reset. I mean, I think a workaround is that I could reset all the records every time.
Yeah.
But man, when we're gonna race,
Well, you
with the
probably want to
spreadsheet
test it.
capacity of remembering that. I mean, anyway.
Yeah, just test it. I mean, they might have, if they're using it like you want to, maybe it does reset each, race record lap or whatever, race best.
Yeah, I mean, so to be fair with you, still I'm not used it in race conditions. One, two, I'm not still 100% convinced that I'm gonna, this is gonna take over RCSO2. I think RCSO2 is still our favorite RMS. My only problem is that we are using that with oxygen free, and oxygen free is, slowly will be kind of phased out. So I need to have something in order to move it to oxygen 4. So once in a while, I have a bunch of cars and controller already in oxygen 4. So once in a while, I might kind of bring this stuff in and play with it, do some kind of sessions once a month or whatever. Instead of because before we're testing oxygen 4 with the Chrono, which is a pain in the butt for us, for a small club. So this at least is a bit more user. I mean, for a small club, it's more user friendly, let's say. Anyway, I have a kind of a show and tell, but I think I can give to Dale and then I can come back in case.
No, the format's fucked today, so go ahead and do your show.
Okay,
Go ahead and do your
so
show and tell.
I'm not ready, so I give it to Dale.
Oh,
and then
okay,
I come back
okay. We'll talk to
Well,
Dale for a bit. What's up
And
today, Dale?
I do want to go back around to what we were just talking about because I actually had some specific questions for this session regarding race coordinator and other RMSs, but we can do that after Dale.
Well, I guess I'd rather stay on the topic so that we don't kind of lose
Okay.
track. Dale, are you going to stick around for a bit longer?
Oh, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, cool. What are your questions, Dewan?
All right, yeah, on my the forum, well, not forum, on the Facebook page for the Vintage Revell, today actually came up regarding our RMS systems, or actually just some lap counting capabilities on the Revell track. And I mentioned that I had used the TrackMate hardware and initially with the TrackMate software until I discovered Race Coordinator. And then I switched over to Race Coordinator. And then I learned how to do a lot of customizing and tweaking and automation to help create the users and I got a public domain text-to-speech engine that would automatically make all the all the recordings for each specific driver when you set up a new driver. So, but and I was going to be or picking Jeremy's brain, and I don't know if he's been using the fuel feature on Race Coordinator at all, but the one thing that I have not been able to discover, and it may be just something that's completely overlooked, was when a user is getting to low on their fuel, that it uses the generic term that says low on fuel versus getting it specifically saying Dewan is low on fuel. So I can't find the um, file specifically. Let's put it this way. I don't know if there's a way in race coordinators to identify or to make it specifically for a driver.
You can.
Fuel.
That's
I thought
in.
it had to be.
Did you look in the driver management and then click on their name, and then their name has an audio tab? Then there's a fuel warning audio there you can play. So that's where you
Fuel
would set.
warning.
Yeah,
Okay, I have to go
it's
through.
and a driver name audio and fuel warning audio prefix, and then I think you could probably wildcard that as well, like the other sounds, where it's which driver it is, it wildcards. Or you could just type it in there. If you're on Abby, you would put Abby, you're low on fuel, pay attention or something. And then the computer would spit out whatever you put in there.
Excellent, excellent. That's okay. I know where to find it. I know now where to look. I can't do it on
Alrighty.
that's in my own track computers.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Any other questions? That's it? Okay. All right. Since we had Geo going first, do you want to go now, Geo? Oh, okay. Go ahead, Dale.
Okay. Just a quick one. I just wanted to give a progress report on a stock car that I'm building. It's a 59 Chevy.
Love that steering wheel.
It's what?
Love the steering
I
wheel.
said, I love that steering wheel, a unique steering wheel. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's from a static kit by Gunze Sanyo, and I'm using most of the interior from the static kit with a flat panel over the rear to cover up the big hole I made in it for clearance of the motor. The wheels are the rear wheels are Steely's by CB Design, and they got Paul Gauge tires on them. And the fronts are Steely's also by from Pioneer Trans Am car. The chassis
really
is
cool.
a slotted HRS. It's not an HRS2. I happen to have an HRS, I guess, 1 in my junk box, and I was able to adapt that. I had to stretch the chassis wheelbase 3 or 4 millimeters beyond its limit to match the wheelbase of the car. That turned out okay. And
What'd you use to do that?
what
How'd you
did
go
I
about
use?
extending the chassis? How'd you go about extending the chassis? Just kind of curious.
Well, on
I
here,
see the screws there.
yeah, I just see this fork with a pickup attaches to the chassis with these 2 screws that come in the kit. And then on either end of this, there's holes where the axle, well, there are no holes. There is no adapter on this thing to put the axle. So separate in the kit is a axle holder that I mounted with these 2 new screws further forward. So I just kind of cheated in using that that fork.
Hey, it
And
worked.
then the mounts I made for the body are just made out of styrene. The vertical part is the post is a 1/4 inch square styrene, and those diagonal braces are 3/16 styrene tubing. So they're hollow, so that makes them relatively light. And the motor is it's just an 18K Predator motor to kind of match the motors that are in the rest of the stock car fleet I'm building, which is mostly Revell monogram and some Carrera cars. So that's what's keeping me off the streets and out of the bars.
And what model kit did you use again?
It's a Gunze Sangyo. Let me get the box. I'll show you. Okay,
Mhm.
this is a Japanese kit. And you can find them on, oops, looks like I need to mirror that, but you get the picture. You can find them on eBay for pretty cheap sometimes. I think
You
I
don't have
paid.
to. You don't have to mirror it. It's actually perfect for us. It's backwards for you.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Well, I already know what it looks like, so I'm fine. Okay,
Yeah,
so
they have a
anyway,
great line of kits. There's 63 T-Bird. That's great. That
yeah,
you
I've
might
got
be
the
able to use.
T-Bird too.
Yeah, yeah.
The
I mean, you could even take a Cadillac Brougham four-door, make it into a stock car for
Yeah,
yourself too.
the only problem I have with this one is that the kit is a convertible and it comes with a hard top that's supposed to glue on, and there's not many points for it to glue to. So how sturdy it's going to be when it gets involved in a rollover on the slot car track, we have yet to
It,
find out.
I guarantee you it'll be as sturdy as the real car was.
Not at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, uh, yeah. I would think you could work your roll bar or roll cage system in to support that top, physically support it with some glue too. Glue
Yeah,
glue the stuff together that way.
yeah, that's a good idea. For
The,
the livery, the car is white, and I got this set of decals here off of eBay to put on there. These are decals that represent an actual car that raced back in
Bookmaker.
'59.
well, you know what else you'll have to do, Dale, is you'll have to play Redline 7000 as you race these cars.
What?
In the background, yeah.
Redline 7, you haven't seen Redline 7000?
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
No
Howard
idea.
Hawks. Oh my gosh. And it's starring James Caan. George Takei is in it.
Oh,
Old
Oh,
stock car movie.
oh yeah, it's a really
Yep.
terrible stock car movie, but the stock car stuff is really kind of cool.
yeah. Okay. It's real
And
stock car.
and
Yeah.
get your wife to watch it because all the costumes were done by Edith Head.
Okay. Yeah.
Dale, if you wanted to grab your body again,
Yeah.
okay. If you wanted to make a small gusset that goes around the back of the open piece there, that just sticks out a tiny bit,
Yeah.
and do a tiny gusset underneath the sun visors.
Yeah.
That would make a better place for you to glue the top.
Oh, I
on.
see. Yep. I follow you. Yeah. Yeah, I'll think about that. I'll see if I can figure something out.
All right. Looking forward to updates on that project.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they raced convertibles at that time.
did.
NASCAR raced. They had a
They had
convertible
a
class.
convertible class that raced from, I think it was 55 through 59.
Yeah, cool. Those guys are crazy.
Boy, I'll say. Yeah.
All right, Gio, what you got?
Okay, let me share. Okay, so in the, let's say, last year, I've been trying to, let's say, connect Maurizio with Maurizio from Slotted with a group of people racing in Oxygen in Singapore. And basically, finally, we managed to kind of all stars to align, and everybody ended up in Singapore at the same, more or less same couple of days.
That's cool.
And we managed to organize like a race. So the race was based on, I think I already talked about this kind of class was using the slotted Nissan GTR in almost a stock configuration. So with the short can motor, you could use any kind of orientation for the motor, and so the rest was kind of pretty stock. So we had one day for one day prior to the race for a bit of practice. So I think this was like a screenshot of the practice, and then basically we went the next day went to the race. So the idea was to have a race based on teams, but then given the numbers of people, it ended up that was basically single drive. Most of the teams were just a single driver, except for myself and Maurizio. Maurizio came, didn't have a car, so basically we team up. And there were other two guys that also kind of team up. So this is the lineup of the kind of drivers. Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Oh, it's too small. Yeah. Okay. So this is Adrian. That is the guy that originally started the club, and then now they are partnership with Vincent. That is now running the racing part of the club, and so the rest are all the guys that most of regulars, let's say, that go to race. So it's it's kind of an expansion mode. So Adrian, for instance, does a lot of outside events, especially when they have the Formula One race there in Singapore. While Vincent takes care of these guys are running the shop that is attached to the club. So this is a lineup of the cars. So all of them except for the red one are all painted and decaled by the drivers. So this one that you see over here, the second one next. So this is number 5 is our car. Is a ape, I think, livery. Was painted by the driver. I mentioned this because basically Maurizio also came with some samples, and you might know that the next new release for Slotted is exactly these livers. So it was nice to see both of them at the same time. And the guy did an excellent job with his painting job here. So the rest, I think, all kind of fantasy livery, as I said, except for the number 23 or Nissan, if you want to pronounce them in Japanese. So, but your picture. So because we were like, there was basically no marshal. So Adrian organized to have these two girls that kind of help him when he does outside events, and they were basically our marshal. And I also, Maurizio and I basically were also like swapping duty. So if one of us was racing, the other one was marshalling, and 3 people basically kind of were enough for the size of this truck. So here basically kind of a driver the briefing, and then we went for the qualifying. So Maurizio qualified for us and put us in pole position, and then you can see the rest of the driver there. And then we went to the actual lineup for the race. Maurizio takes me some shots. So this is my shot, let's say, for the lineup. And this is the final, the end of the race. So the race was 2 hours and 40 minutes. We were using the fuel simulation for during the race. This was not used during qualifying. For the race, we did use fuel simulation. So Maurizio and I don't remember if we were switching every 500 laps. So every 500 laps, when we were taking the car into the pit for doing fuel, the fuel was almost, I don't know, 30 seconds. I think was plenty time for us to kind of switch controllers, maybe clean the tires, and then going out. So as for the previous race with this GT3, Roy again took the lead or the top of the podium position. We came second, and Vincent was third. So these are kind of the final result for the 3 cars that came on the top of 3 cars, and then here are some of the extra shots of the how would you call it, like the extension of the screen that you can see. So because basically you can have all the columns still active in PC Lab Calendar, but you can slide the window. So these are the ones that were on the far right. And there are some extra information related to, for instance, the fuel left that get in the tank, the average user of the fuel, the fuel actually used, and total, which I don't know exactly what it is, fuel used and total fuel used. So maybe it's these to the last stint. And so it's kind of interesting that so one of the things that we noticed during the race was that Roy, for instance, was kind of doing a less pit stop between kind of stint, less pit stop than us. But actually, all his fuel consumption was kind of different than ours. And if you look at the actual number of pit stop down here, it managed 73, so 10 more than ours. But then looking at the actual fuel usage, he used 1,000 liters less than us. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's true that the amount of fuel that you use is based on the number of positions that you're changing. So either he cracked the, how basically be conservative but still quick with the usage of his fuel and link it to the trigger positions. So anyway, so this is something that I would like to kind of understand a bit more how this stuff works. But definitely is kind of good driver as well. I mean, one thing that I don't think I can see is how many times you come off. So for instance, here does not say because that also could be kind of interesting to see. He's very consistent as a driver. I mean, he's really good. I think from what I heard, he's also a top driver in RC cars in the Singapore scene. So he knows what he's doing. And so at the end of the race, because I want to check how the car, because the car was not feeling that quick. I mean, I know that I could do 6.4, 6.5 before the actual race. So I want to check how the car was performing after the race. So I kind of asked Vincent to kind of restart the software, but without simulation. And after 153 laps of testing, I managed 6.358, so which is pretty fast for the track. I mean, in this car. So the car was still performing. The only things that I did a bit of kind of post-mortem on the car to see what happened. And I'm going to show some picture later. So yeah, these are basically the main guys running the club. And so there's going to be a bit of a mess with the picture here because some of mine, some are not. So this is the how the car after the race. You can see there is accumulation of marbles around the crown gear here. So these are G25 tires. The rules specify that you can glue and through them. So I forgot to take with me my truer, so I had to kind of through the tires there with one of Greg's tire truer, the 3D printed one. And so yeah, I mean a lot of marbles as you can see here, but also one thing that I've never seen before was that the marble managed to get between the motor and the rear axle.
Wow. And then melt and
Yes.
squirt. Wow, yeah.
So, and I think, every time a marble was going through here, was slowing down the car. So I don't know why that was happening. I don't know if, as I say, I've never seen this in a sideways configuration happening.
Yeah, and the marbles on the spur gear, that's crazy. I mean,
Actually, this is nothing, man. When I took the car off just from the race, all this space between the tire and the crown was all filled with it. This is after I cleaned it up.
Wow.
Now, I don't think that this was slowing down the car. The one In fact, I mean, also I made a mistake here because I was trying to align the crown with the edge of the pinion, right? And so I put like a spacer that maybe was too big. I should have kind of having smaller spacer or turn the gear around so that the boss was facing outwards. So or maybe leaving a bit more space between tires and crown so that the marbles maybe could fall off. Anyway.
And it was Ninco track, right?
No, polycarb.
Oh, I thought I
They-
saw. Okay, so they put some Ninco pieces in, like for the pit
Lane
lane.
changes are still Ninco.
Okay.
And man, about the track, I have to say, I mean, yeah, polycarb track, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, I could I could easily go consistent with it, and grip is great, and yeah, it's a much better stuff than Ninco, even the Scaletics, of course. Yeah.
Have you ever had that kind of, because you've run G25 for the 24-hour, right?
Yes.
And you have you ever seen that kind of marbling on the spur gear and on the axle before?
No, but that's also the other thing, when it was so hot. I mean, even if we had like two air conditioner like running, it was still so. And that's another thing, like the race condition there are completely different than what I'm used in Europe over here. It's a really hot, and the motor gets super hot as well.
Yeah.
It's something to take also into account. So these I assume affects also how tires wear and kind of perform. So here another kind of another picture of the amount of a mess that I managed to collect during the race.
Wow.
So these are kind of I set up at the bottom. And so these braids were very new when we started the race, and as you can see, one got messed up more than the other one.
Yeah, they say that the polarity of the power burns one side more than the other.
Really?
I've heard that.
So this should be the negative.
I don't know. I don't remember which side it was. Chris would probably know what I'm talking about, but I think
that's completely 100% common.
So which side tends to be the
Generally
one?
positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe I messed up at the setup of the car. That one side maybe was because it's a figure of 8, and more or less the corners are similar. There is no one set of corners crazier than another, right? So okay.
Now, Gio, I was wondering, all that debris that was developed internally, none of that would ever get into the motor with the motor openings into the comm or anything like that?
Yeah, I think I assume that some might have gone through. Yeah, and I think that what's called the Tamar, for instance, especially when you do the 24 hours, you put like a bit of metal mesh on top.
Screen.
Yeah, some screen. Yeah, and maybe I should have done it, but I wasn't expecting this mess.
Why do you run axle stoppers instead of spacers?
Because it's a symbol for me to set up. I mean,
okay.
And so and the other thing is like because I had like 3 or 4 different wheels and tires that I prepared before going there, so I was gonna change them. I tried, so I didn't want to mess again. It's very hot. I mean, I don't like hot weather, so it's not really
No,
most comfortable. Yeah.
Generally, spacers are probably a better idea because on your right-hand side of the car there, You've got a set screw for the wheel and a set screw for the stopper. So you've got more options for either the wheel and or the stopper migrating on the axle, which you don't have with spacers.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, to be fair, what do you say, quarter it? Like, I space the grab screw like a quarter turn from each, of the different components, right? So for instance, so the stopper and the grab screw on the crown, they are opposite each other, and then I use the other quarter for opposing like the one for the wheel. And so after checking, the quartering was still there, so there was no noticeable movement, let's say, or anything didn't get super misaligned.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah, so but I know what you say. So it's an extra component that could fail. Yeah, and so these, I think,
Sorry, I'm
yeah,
muted.
are the
Hold on.
types.
Sorry, I was muted. I was going to ask, but you might talk about it.
Oh,
John Albright on the YouTube asked if there was any treatment of the tires.
who asked?
John Albright, he's one of
Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay, yeah. Treatment, no. So the only things that what did I do? So when I was doing the truing for this tire, so I used alcohol for cooling them down, and then at the end I did a bit of polishing with lighter fuel, but really a bunch of not 10 times like like suggested, but a couple of times just to remove a bit of roughness. And I think that the 6630 that I showed at the beginning is the fastest lap that I managed after 5 minutes with these new tires, because I was checking if my previous one that I took from home had a better performance, which I made with a bit more time and more kind of careful, no treatment on the tires.
Yeah.
So
And the only thing was,
so if you're using lighter fluid, the answer of the tires have been treated. The answer is yes.
Yes.
yeah, okay, but it's again, one is not super, I mean, that long, and then once you do 10 laps on a polycar track, that layer of treatment, I think it's gone.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. So and then the only thing was just to clean the tires with the roller.
Yep.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. But it didn't go through like an oil application
No,
regimen.
no.
Yeah.
No. I don't think it was in the rules, but at the end, so honestly, I mean, between the fact that the was soft, polycar grip and G25, I mean, you have more than plenty of grip.
Yeah.
And actually, when you touch these are other things that I know, when you touch the tires, they are super sticky. I mean, at least they were so there is already, as I said, the warmer weather, I think, does something on the tire.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest impact on that marbling issue. Because we raced on, I mean, there's marbles, right? Even for us in a colder climate, but not like that. Of course, you raced 2 hours straight. We raced, sprints, so not quite the same, but yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 hour 40, 2 hour 40, right? So almost 3 hours of a race.
Yeah.
Plus a lot of testing the day before. I mean, like a couple of days before. So there was a lot of rubber on the track.
Yeah.
Can you go back to your track picks?
It's also
Thanks
humid.
again.
Can you go back to a track pick?
A track pick. Wow. Okay. So I don't have any good. I could bring up a picture of the actual truck if you want to see the truck.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Another track pick.
Yeah. Something.
But you want a bigger, give me a second. I mean, I can bring up, I think.
Yeah, I think he wants to see like the turn compositions, turns and straights and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so as I said, there is a, I mean, I think it's a fair distribution of corners radius across the track. The only one is, I mean, depending on which lane you're going, I mean, if you are like a lane 1 and 2, you're gonna get, you know, these on the R pin, but then the other one are gonna be R2, right? So which is most of what you got over here. It's a fun track. It's I mean, yeah, as you can see, it's not that difficult to learn, but if you want to really push it, then it's where you have to find, you know, everything, every corner, you know, you have to find the limit, which then becomes interesting. So, and I believe, yeah, if you want to have people coming along and not just your club user, I think a truck like this adds a lot of fun, or give an opportunity for everybody to be, you know, quite competitive. One thing that impressed me was how quickly Maurizio really got used to it, because you can see that his polycar is a track. He managed to find like the good, yeah, like yeah, especially he liked to run a lot on lane 4, so which is kind of the one that has the wider R pin corner here. The only problem was that when cars were coming off here, which were a lot of times, then the marshal, one of the girls, was putting the truck, I mean the cars back on lane 4. He was always finding bloody traffic on his, or sometimes even on top of his car.
Oops.
This is a pretty much permanent layout. They don't modify this layout often at all, do
No,
they?
no,
Okay.
no. Yeah, and the big thing also for them is because they do also event outside, they use a Scalextric track for the outside events. And so
And
this is the
not only was it very warm there, but also isn't that a fairly humid environment?
yeah, it's basically, you know, almost equator
Tropical.
type of yeah, well, deep tropical.
Yeah.
In
Good
fact, I
fun.
mean, I was exhausted. I mean, I was looking so for a freaking shower at the end. I mean, not like a real driver, of course, right? That, you know, when you come out, you're cold, drenched of, you know, sweat. But man, I mean, yeah,
Yep.
it drains me. So, but yeah, cool. So, and yeah, the other thing was also with the Maurizio there, you know, helping with some of the technical issue. I mean, yeah, we didn't experience any issue. Most of the drivers did not, but there were a couple of, again, strange events where I believe one of the cars might be kind of lost the brake signal. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't know. I think there was a bit of confusion also with the kind of firmware which the controllers on the car. So the race overall was from the technical point of view also was a success.
You had a picture of your tires. I think you were gonna talk a little bit more about what you did or what.
Yeah, so I need to kind of switch back to the other.
Yep.
Just a sec. Yeah, actually, I mean, technically, I think I don't have not too much to share. Yeah, so this is basically like yeah, the tires, the kind of how, I mean, yeah, how they look like. And one of the things that I did you know, at the beginning and after, you know, I measured the diameter, and to be honest, after, you know, it was okay, 2.5 hours plus 5 minutes of qualifying or not. They didn't, you know, the diameter didn't change much. So although there were a lot of marbles, I mean, you know, it was not like at the end, yeah, after 2.5 hours, you know, your tires were showed up.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Sorry.
I've seen worse.
Yeah, I agree.
What kind of ground clearance did you use?
I didn't measure that. So we had the minimum clearance. I think it was 180 or something, but I was really far away from that. So yeah.
What was the so there were slotted GT3 cars, and you're running the stock wheels and then the G25 tires.
Not stock wheels. I mean, you could, but you could also we're allowed to use magnesium wheels. So the one here are basically sideways.
Okay. So what was the diameter? What was the outside diameter of your tires before and after, or just before?
So before, I think I was going for 20.5.
So you could probably figure out the ground clearance with that, Mike.
Yeah.
Get a 20.5 wheel. You're using what was the pod, a 1 millimeter offset or half?
All right, yeah.
No.
The one the stock that is a 1 mil offset.
A tire that big, a G25 that tall will also cause a lot of marbling, Gio.
Because it's stretched more.
No, because it squirms more and compresses more because it's the sidewall is thicker, if you know what I mean. Like the whole rubber is thicker, so it tends to squirm and it will ball up like that a little more.
Yeah, I mean, so the regulation basically kind of prescribed the tires. So there was the 1323, I think. So the tallest G25s that Slotty produce, right, or makes.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, I agreed. Yeah, so these are big tires basically, yeah.
Yeah.
But they look okay for a GT3, right? I mean, I don't want to do Formula One tires on GT3 car.
Look like a Ninco Lightning car.
Yeah. And I don't know. So yeah, maybe again because I was an idiot that I took everything with me, and I left in the bloody hotel because also I didn't know how to, because of constraint on packing things. But maybe I didn't do such a good job with rounding the corners of the edge of the tires.
Yeah.
So I don't know because that one maybe could help to expel the marbles a bit better. But yeah, so I didn't have any problem with the marbling of with the marble sticking in the middle of the tires and the car going like crazy. So that also need to be said. But the way in which I was expelling the marble seems that they were shooting more inside than outside.
Yeah. That was interesting.
One thing, I don't know if maybe it's stupid. The only things that I did a bit different than normal that I'm doing a bit more, and I know maybe Chris, you don't like this, but it's kind of using foam tape. Yeah, that kind of tape foam that you use for kind of closing gaps in doors and stuff. So lightweight foam to inside the body of the car, that to reduce kind of vibration.
Okay.
So I don't know if that stuff was kind of maybe the marbles normally would be kind of stuck more on the plastic of the body instead of because they were finding foam, they were just kind of raining back into the chassis. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking aloud here, maybe saying stupid things, but yeah, that's the only things that I've done really different than other times with the G25s. So
what kind of ground clearance do you run normally on your Scale Extra track?
I don't think he measures.
I don't measure. Yeah, exactly. I mean, as long as it does not spark, it's fine. No, so yeah, honestly, I don't. Yeah, so I let the tires run, the course until basically, last time I kind of changed the tires last week for Alex. His tires were tiny. I mean, the car was almost running on the rails.
Do you normally run with 20-ish millimeter tires?
Yeah. So
in which case you could drive a bus under the car then.
they're pretty tall. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it depends also on the offset, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah. So for instance, here with the Scalextrics, we use NSR tires, and these are 5216, which they are huge tires. And then I basically reduce the side and then also reduce to 20.8, 20.5, and then I let them run until almost you can, because I use air wheels, so almost like you start seeing the ribs poking through. And then the car becomes super slow because it has a lot of magnetic traction then. And so before so it becomes much more difficult to run. And that's where we say, okay, we need to change tires. And because I have to do all the work myself, it's all basically impinging on me in that case. Anyway, so yeah, there's a bunch of other picture of there's a before the event. And so this is Roy winning the race. These are some of the other kids. So these two are one of the club, like one of the team that raises a kind of two-driver team. Here I was kind of blaming Maurizio for our second place. Vincent with Maurizio and some of the other kids. So these are the guy that basically painted the car as the one that is going to be released by Swatted. And that's it. So if you ever go to Singapore, get in touch with these guys because they're a great bunch. So, and Vincent, both Vincent and Adrian will really give you nice experience.
Cool. All right. Anybody else got anything they want to talk about? What you working on, Courtney?
I've been so busy lately, I haven't really been working on anything. Although, I am working on a GT3 car. And I've got that Kohaza 30 in there.
Yeah.
And Chris, you can see the white styrene that I put in there to stiffen up the chassis.
Yeah.
It's just okay. It's not a rocket ship.
I don't like that motor at all.
You don't like the car?
I don't like the motor.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's gutless, to be honest.
What do you have a gear at?
1035.
Yeah, well, you could probably go north of that actually, but still, I've run 20 or 30 of them at the shop, and I'm not gonna. I don't like them.
Well, it's super smooth, and again, I'm just trying it because that's what PK is running, right? That's what he's tried. He's got it working. I guess he's just better than I am. I really like
Yuri.
Well, yeah, his screen name is PK Yuri, right?
No, it's Peter Kreisel, and the other guy JM is Yuri Mysak.
Right.
And Yuri builds the cars.
Right. Yuri does everything for him. Yuri is his full-time dude.
Yeah.
Just like it could be a lot like our relationship, Chris, if you were just give a little more. I could be the dude.
Jesus Christ. Excuse me.
I'm like, what?
You could build and maintain all the cars, and I could just be the dude.
Well, we can, well, I tell you what, when I'm in the springtime, if you want, I can build a car for you.
And I've got a lottery ticket, so if I win, I might be able to afford it.
No, I will. I tell you right now, I'll build you a couple of cars for free in the spring.
Okay, I would love to see some of that. So I really like that 25K Piranha motor because it's got the Neo mags and it's on ball bearings. It breaks in really well. Again, I think I've talked about that Ralph Lauren break-in fluid. It breaks in really well, and it's got lots of grunt.
Yep.
Um,
It's
although,
spectacular if you're running on a plastic track.
yeah,
It's what?
yeah. Well, it's got lots of magnetic downforce, is what
Right.
he's saying. And um, I was going to say something else, but I still like the little Professor motor. You know, the 35K. I really, I, you know, it just my racer brain says that that motor. I should be able to make that motor and package super competitive.
Yep.
But you've got to make it so everybody can drive it, and I think that's where I'm a little behind. I'm just, you know, this much behind.
Yeah.
So
No, that is for a good driver. And if you were driving your own car, that motor makes tremendous sense. It is
yeah,
significantly different in its characteristics than the other stuff, so that when 20 cars come down the line and a guy's been running NSR 25K S cans, and then all of a sudden you plonk this in the track from them, that's the issue.
right. And if you've watched the last few GT3 uh videos, you know, they're trying really hard. They push that little car really hard, and it's not. I don't know that it's a real. It likes less brakes. It likes to be smooth. It does not. It is not a manhandle type of car. You know, the way Greg drives the car, he manhandles it.
Right. Yeah. No, well, I mean, you gear them so high that, yes, so taking a touch off of the brake. So if I have a controller set up for any other motor, typical S-can motor, geared at 2.5 to 1 or whatever the hell's the guys are running them at, and then you give me that thing with poly neo magnets geared 4 to 1, I got to change my control. I got to change everything.
Right. And I am. I don't know why. I don't know why, but it has. I'm our 24th, the FlexiCar stuff. I work with Paul Wolcott, right? And because I haven't been doing much of that lately, he's got another guy driving. And the thing I don't know why it hit me all of a sudden. Everybody is afraid to mess with their controller, right? It seems like nobody wants to change chips. They get the brakes set at 5, and that's where it stays. And I think, you know, sometimes we're creatures of habit, so you don't want to change your controller. So that makes my car a little less appealing.
Well, yeah, I mean, a controller setting for that motor, that setup is certainly different than something
Yeah.
else. I think the worst thing is throw 25 similar car. I mean, if you look at the specs, they're basically all the same setups, right? So you throw 20 setups to any driver, and then the next one is a completely different motor and gear setup, and that just flips them right out.
Right. So everything I've been doing recently has been on the S can. I have a car that's really fast, and for some reason it's got a really good set of tires on it, and it's actually faster than my current GT3 car on my home track.
Yeah.
So I'm working, and that's the fantasy one, the sideways, you know, fantasy one
Ferrari.
car. Yeah, the Ferrari, the 488, the
Right.
298. I think it's
296.
just too short. Or 296, yeah. I think it's just too short.
Did
Um,
those chassis plate braces help out?
they did, except I they are it is noticeably different but it has a I don't even know how to say it. It's not even a chatter. It just kind of skips over the top like a boat. It just kind of skips over the top. It's not, I wouldn't call it a chatter, but it just kind of and it just won't give me any forward momentum. I've tried a few different tires, but I changed motors when I put those in there, so I didn't do a fair back to back. But I just kind of, and again, I'm not a builder, Chris. I'm a lover. You may know that. So I just kind of cobbled those braces in there just to get it done to see what it would do. So, and again, it's been a week or so. I've had car issues and took the kids to a football game and we went shooting, and so I just haven't played slot cars in a week. So I've kind of got to get back on it. But now that you're talking about it, this is the one major difference between my other car and this car is I did not coat the front wheels. And I'm wondering, I did not coat the front wheels. I'm wondering if that's causing some of my handling issues.
It might.
What
How
Ford are
tall?
you
How
using?
tall are the side things? The piece of bed.
I think 2.5 millimeters, maybe 3.
Okay, so not really that tall, eh?
No, and I had to, around the motor, I had to go around the
Yeah,
axle.
chamfered, cut it. Yeah. Okay.
Which Ford
I
are you
mean,
using, Courtney?
that's a scale auto pod. And I've taken this one and I've actually cut it out and lowered the tungsten all the way down in it. And you can see I like to use the center. It's got a little carbon piece there. I like to make it a 3-point pod. I've tried it with no suspension. I've tried it with Thunderslot foam. I've tried it with springs. Um, it's just okay. Where this car is a rocket ship, right? I've tried it with tape, without tape, but this car, you can see I've got the coated fronts. It's got the same type of setup in it with the 25 Piranha.
Which car is that? The 488.
488, yeah. So
Why not
So
swap
one
the
thing
fronts
that
from that? Swap the fronts from that to the other car and see if it changes.
well, so I do have a little bit of work to do. So this has got this has a carbon front axle, and then I made both wheels independent and I
Okay.
glued collars onto it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to cut it off to take it off. But
No.
yes, well,
Yeah, no.
listen, this is the Formula One of
No,
slot
I know.
cars.
Absolutely. I
this is
fully
a Formula
understand.
One of GT3.
Obviously you can't
No,
just swap those wheels over, so
no
gotcha.
expense spared. So yes, I do need to. That is next on my long list of things to do. So anyhow, um,
The
yeah,
Cahosa
that's
car has independent fronts or no?
yes. They both have independent fronts.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, they're coated independent fronts. So and each wheel is independent and the axle is independent. So there's
Yep,
there's as little drag as I can possibly make it.
good.
So I
So-
just the 296 car, I just think it's just the dimensions of it are a little short.
Well,
Um,
sometimes I've built for guys at the shop. I build 10 slotted Group C cars, all 962s. One's spectacular, one's not very good at all, and the other 8 are 8 in the middle. And you know, it just sometimes it just works that way. You know, I mean, you can't.
Right. I got tickled watching Ian and Todd talk about the magic car. I disagree. I have magic cars, man. They just go together and they fall on the track and
Right.
they just go.
Yeah. Well, I've put together cars. We have a pretty spec thing at the shop for Group C. So I put together cars in a half an hour for guys that are absolute bullets. And I've got the same car that I've spent 3 days on, and it's not anywhere near this thing I put together in half an hour. You know, it just
Right.
it is what it is.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on. Plus I'm kind of getting my Le Mans car ready, getting that back out and getting it rolling. So
Yep.
but yeah, anybody else want to know anything else I'm doing? I haven't messed with Garth pod in a little bit, so I need to probably get back on that too. Doctor
We'll pull more
Strange.
we'll pull more secrets out of you after the live ends.
You can't
Right,
go too
okay.
far wrong with those scale autopods.
Yeah, no,
You can't.
listen, just a couple of them I've put those MR slot car bushings in just because you know, you don't have to drill out as much for a bearing,
Yep.
and it just fast. I can do a pod in an hour or less with those bushings, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got hands up. Gio's had his up for a while. What would you like to get back to or do? Talk about?
Just
Forgot?
no. So I
Okay.
didn't know if I was muted or not. So I had the Zoom and the Teams open at the same
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Okay, so this is back home, a bit of a racing here in Auckland. So this was Monday. Finally, we got like 6 people racing. Mike T got a new car, so this M4 that I built for him after basically the M6 was falling apart. So this is the Lamborghini. Then is kind of a James car, which is I don't know if the car is improving or he is improving, but this bloody thing is now going really quick. It's getting very consistent. Colin, so I upgraded him to my Acura, and he's gonna get one for himself. This is far from stock, as you can imagine. I was also quite quick. Then we have Ian, Alex with the new tires, and myself with the Avant slot 296 using the CRP, I think, chassis. The one carbon fiber, whatever, super light. Okay, so 6 people. Then went for the as usual, we do a practice session, and so the track is not super fast. I believe that is due to because again, yes, it's starting to get warm. Maybe joints are kind of expanding, so maybe I need to do a bit of maintenance after spring or winter. But as I said here, you know, James managed to get the fastest lap, which is not going to be the fastest lap of the night, but you know, you will see later on. My car, I mean, the Ferrari was pretty quick like a bunch of weeks ago, but kind of slowing down a bit. I don't know why. So lineup for qualify, and then the results as follow. So Alex 5, 6, 7 again for the truck not performing that well. I think it's kind of a decent lap. Myself second. I don't know how. I mean, I think this lap came out because there was almost nobody on the track when they were pitting, and I managed to squeeze this in. But as you're gonna see, for the rest of the night during the racing, I got not even close to a 5-7. Then Colin in third, then James, Jan, and Combi with the M4. So this is the lineup for race 1, and super close racing. As you can see, 3 people within the same lap on the top. I don't know if for Jan maybe there was a bit of a mess with the pit stop. I mean, this is something that I'm not 100% sure, but as you can see, the top 3 within same lap and not that far distance with each other. Then James was just 1 lap behind us, and then Colin couple behind, then Combi last. So, and as I was mentioned before, my car again not super quick. The only thing is that at the beginning is a bit quicker than the others. Then when we are around 50% of fuel, all the others start to become quicker. So I have to try to maximize on my initial kind of advantage that I get at the beginning of the race, or when I have a full tank. And then it's all kind of good luck or bad luck during the race. Then we move to second race, and then these again the results. Yeah, so James now second, Alex third, myself first, and again not many laps of difference between each other. So one of the things that I've kind of noticed is that it's a bit more hectic now while we are racing, because once you go to the pit, and before, I went to the pit, I had so many laps in front of people that out of the pit I was still on top, so it wasn't that confusing. Nowadays, instead, you go to the pit, you come out, and you're 4th, 5th, and you don't know who is going to be the next one going to the pit, what is the kind of strategy that they're using. They're using it because now you have to try to follow 4 people at the same time, to see where the fuel is, the tire are. So kind of getting much more difficult to keep track of what's going on the track. So it's much more closer to real race. Or yeah, so it's pretty intense, let's say. So third race, so in semi-darkness, and again I managed to win, but to be honest with you, I don't know how. It's a kind of bit of mystery what happens, because again it's so confusing and everybody is so close. Most of the times I'm battling either with Alex or James, like for position. We try to like 5-6 laps next to each other in order to try to overtake. And so racing is super clean. So if I had like 6 people like these every night that we race, it will be freaking awesome. Then final race in darkness with the reverse grid, and again final results here. This time Colin with the Acura went second, and then just followed by Jan, and then Alex, James, and Compi. And again, as I was saying, cars more or less in terms of performance, fastest lap, they are kind of similar. I think at the top 2 still Alex and James, that sideways Huracan it's kind of really quick. I don't know, it's getting better with time. Maybe it's the motor started going to give up the ghost at one point, but I don't know. So yeah, very close racing, and kind of enjoying the competition.
Excellent. And did Jim give up? Jim, you can still do something if you want to. I see you there. All right. Yep. Are you going to do something?
Yeah, I guess real quick, since we're about done.
We started early, so we're already 15 minutes over, so take however long you want.
Okay. 50 minutes is the record, right?
I think it was, 45, 47, something like that. Yep.
Well, Dennis isn't here, so there was a pretty epic race last weekend down at Electric Dreams, and I'm not going to go over it because I wasn't there, but if you didn't see it, I would highly recommend you go watch the A final, which was 5 minutes per lane, 30 minutes total. Going into the last heat or the last lane segment, you didn't know who was going to be on the podium. And it came down to about 5 feet for the win at the end. And I'm not going to give a spoiler alert other than the fact that Ian didn't win because he wasn't there. But yeah, if you want to see just an absolutely spectacular slot car race, and obviously, if you've seen Electric Dreams production is as good as anything out there for slot car racing. So definitely take a look at that. And they did introduce a couple new products. I did a thing on my site on the new hypercar. They're calling it generic hypercar. It looks very Ferrari-esque, but they're calling it generic. And they also, we talked, I think Chris put some pictures up last week of that independent front end with the one with the axle with a little collar soldered on the end of it.
Yeah.
NSR is coming out with that.
Nice.
So they're going to put that as a production piece. So you don't have to build your own. It'll have the axle. I'm not sure, but the way he explained it, I think it's one piece. So it's an axle that's turned down, and then there's what essentially is a collar, but it's a one piece axle with just a what do you want to call it on the end? So you just put it together, bolt one tire to it, the other freewheels, and you have a independent front end. So they're bringing that out to production. So kind of cool.
Very cool.
They just had a,
we
they
didn't
just
talk
had a
about
look, they just had a look back to the mid 60s and
Yeah.
saw that those guys were using collars on the end of their axles. But
I mean, it's interesting that nobody's done that, but they decided to bring it out as a product. So good,
Yeah.
good to see.
we
But I
haven't
think the way
talked
he
the
explained
NSR.
it's one piece. It's not a piece soldered on. It's a piece that's turned down. So I could be wrong on that, but I thought that's the way he explained it. So it's just a one piece with an extra piece on the end that it acts like a collar.
I would suspect, Jim, I would suspect that's not correct. The cost of taking, a 3 or a 4 mil axle and grinding it down concentric all the way along to leave a little nub on the end, where the factories can just pop on a 20 thou spacer or something and just lock that onto the end for peanuts. That's
Yeah, I totally agree with you, but I thought that's the way he explained it, but the translation, everything, I could very well be wrong.
Yeah,
And
no.
probably am, because what you say makes sense.
Yeah, that now becomes a $20 axle.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it won't be. I'm sure it'll be regularly priced.
Yeah.
Well, in which case it'll have a little thing soldered onto the end or glued onto
Yeah.
the end or something like that.
And they already make those they make those brass. It's not a collar. It's just a brass spacer, like 20,000s is all you need just to tag, spot solder that on or however they can do it.
Yeah, if you want to make those, you can get some 24 thou thick spacers from Slick 7. One side is completely flat, and the other side has a very slight dome shape to it. So you solder it onto the axle with the flat on the outside and the dome on the inside, which minorly reduces friction against the wheel hub as it spins.
So yeah, a couple new products that the Ferrari-esque hypercar that they're calling a generic hypercar. It'll be interesting to see because they're definitely saying it's their own interpretation of a hypercar.
Right.
And to see if clubs allow that to race in a hypercar series because it's not technically a real hypercar. Racer Sideways does that, but it's pretty well known that is a fantasy car that is a Ferrari, but they can't call it that. But NSR is saying, no, this is our own design. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and you cannot patent shapes, but you can patent names.
Yeah, but they're saying that they've taken design cues from other cars. So they're basically saying, in a nutshell, this is not a Ferrari, but it sort of looks like one. And
if you look at the picture of that car on Slot Forum, I think Jonah put up a picture of the NSR, and then below it he put up a picture of the actual Ferrari, and it's a dead ringer.
I think there's a lot of differences. I don't agree with that. I think
Okay.
obviously it's very close, but I think there's enough differences that it's really, it is what it is. So
Yeah.
they did say that they have a new drivetrain coming for it. That the chassis it's not going to be used. All NSR cars basically use one or two motor pods, so they don't change the motor pod when they bring out a new car. But they're saying that this is brand new from the ground up. Nothing from previous cars will fit. So we'll just, we'll see. It could be like the Scale Auto where it's a different angle pod. It could be something different, but he wouldn't let anybody see it. They ran the car there on the track, and there's videos out there of the car running, but he had the bottom of the car all taped up so you couldn't see what it was. And he did say it's a brand new, totally clean sheet of paper design as far as the drivetrain.
Yeah.
But do you think they're gonna bring more of these their interpretation of whatever car, or that will be like a one class car, like the Formula One?
I think he intimated that this was more like the Formula cars, that this is going to be a generic car, and it'll be its own class, kind of like the Formula 86 is. So that's what I inferred from what he said.
And
Right.
maybe it makes sense given that there is a limited amount of delivery, let's say, but yeah.
Yeah, and NSR can't come out with a new car every month like Scale Auto does. So they're basically one car a year. So it would take them. Scale Auto is going to have 10 hypercars by next year. It would take them 10 years to do that if they didn't bring out anything else. So it's just, what that particular company, NSR, has the capability of doing. There's nothing good or bad about that. It's just the reality of it.
All right, I think I'm gonna end the live stream. So until next week, everybody wave bye. We'll see everybody next week. Wait for it to say it's over. It's over.
Just for